Hello everybody, welcome to Tiger Tales, a place where you'll find fanfiction and stories written and read to you by your host, me, Tai Tiger. So, today we are back with Power Rangers Future Foundation, a fanfiction of mine where the future of Power Rangers is held by the next generation. Of course, I do want to quickly note that all stories on this channel do not mean to breach the original content and do not mean to infringe on copyright. With that said, let's dive into Power Rangers Future Foundation. In the last chapter, we left Luca doing some dodgy work and Amy exclaiming that she may have a way to get Logan's attention. So let's dive in with Power Rangers Future Foundation, Chapter 13, Assault on the Animarium. "What is this?" CJ asked, as she was fiddling with a small sapphire crystal. It was green in colour, and a small statue in the centre in the shape of a gorilla. "It's an animal crystal, the gorilla one to be exact," Lucas said quietly. "And where'd you get this from again?" CJ asked. "The Natural History Museum, where Amy stole the Astromorpher," Dante muttered. "And what is your plan on with this?" CJ asked. "Bargain it with Logan's corporation," Chloe hushed. CJ sighed. "Well, I must admit, that kind of makes sense," CJ said. The three Rangers all exhaled with relief. "Amy thinks he's always watching us, like a hawk watching prey, so we're going to call him out," Dante told her. "Everyone better get some rest then," CJ grinned. The next morning, everyone was up early. They all ate something and got dressed, and the three Rangers headed for the park. The three Rangers sat in the park on one of the benches, Dante holding tightly onto the grid animal crystal. "Logan, we know you're out there. We have something for you," Dante yelled. The three Rangers sat there looking around, but nothing happened. "You're a bunch of fools," a voice said behind them. They spun around to see Logan stood there. "Logan, you actually came," Chloe blurted. "Yeah, I did." "Why'd you have that?" Logan asked bluntly, pointing towards the crystal. "We got it for you, actually. Amy got it for you. If you talk to us, then it's yours," Dante told him. "I'll repeat myself. I'm not a ranger," Logan growled. "But you are part of this team," Chloe said. "And your weapons look like Xanaku's, and you know service," Dante explained. "If you knew the truth, it wouldn't change anything, but you'll trust in my ability to help you," Logan said. "What does that mean?" Luke asked. "We have a past, Service and I," Logan told them. "You said I need to hit that fake power coin a couple more times, yeah?" Dante asked. "Yeah, it's running off demon energy. That mimics the morphing grid, similar to what Lucicon uses to make his monsters. He hasn't mastered it, that's why they're easy to beat. Normal or big size," Logan explained. That's why I keep saying, let's break this phony coin." "But then what happens?" Dante asked. "Easy. I kill him," Logan muttered. "But we don't kill people. Power Rangers don't kill," Chloe said. "We are not a team," Logan repeated himself. "Damn it, Logan," Lucas snapped. "Look at me and Service have a history, a long one. He's dangerous and he has a power, strong and evil," Logan explained. "Yeah, and how do you and him have powers of old Ranger villains?" Dante asked. "Again, long story," Logan replied. "Oh, but it is a great one," a voice said, coming from behind them. Then all four of them turned to see Service, a big bulking stone monster holding a big hammer made out of stone and a small army of putties and cogs. "Tyrannosaurus!" Service grinned, holding out his fake morpher, and suddenly he morphed into the fake red Mighty Morphin Power Ranger. "Let's do this," Dante growled. Luca hit his communicator. "Amy, we need you by the park, south side, by the sand pit. Hurry up," Luca said. "It's morphin' time," Dante called out. Dante had out his morpher and it popped open. "Mastodon," he called out. Luca crossed his wrist, then pressed his chronomorpher. Time force," he called out. Chloe then opened the mouthpiece of her Dinomorpher and pressed the button. "Dino Thunder, power up, ha!" she called out. The three flashes of light and the three Rangers stood there in their fighting stances. Logan summoned his Crescent Blade.
Hey there, podcast listener. You enjoying what you're listening to? Well then, do I got a special treat for you. Storytime with Cosplay Dude 637. That's me. I'm your host, and I like to tell you stories. Stories that I personally enjoy. So, buckle up, get comfortable, because we're going on a wild ride.
"Go for the coin," Logan whispered. The Black Ranger nodded. Team, listen up. Logan can handle the foot soldiers with ease. You two handle that stone monster, and trust me, I got service," the Black Ranger commanded. The Black and Red Mighty Morphin Power Rangers dived at one another. Service summoned the Z-Staff and hit the Black Ranger hard in the chest. Sparks flew off the Ranger, and the Black Ranger flew across the field and hit the ground. Service then jumped high in the air and slammed the Z-Staff at the Black Ranger, who rolled to one side, dodging the attack and the staff hitting the ground. Mud exploded upwards. The Black Ranger then jumped up and kicked Service, then again. He then summoned his axe and hit the coin on Service's belt. Service's suit started glitching and then he demorphed. "Ow," Service said. The Blue and Yellow Rangers dived at the solid rock monster. The Blue Ranger summoned his Chrono Sabers and slashed down, but his sabers did nothing. He then hit the monster again, but with no luck. The monster swung its big hammer, hitting the Blue Ranger, sending him flying back. The Red Ranger drop-kicked the monster, then punched it a couple times, but the monster held its ground. It then swung the hammer again and hit the Yellow Ranger, knocking her flying as well. "Now what?" the Blue Ranger asked. "You need to get rid of the hammer," CJ told them through the communicators. "How'd you figure that out?" the Blue Ranger asked. "Every time he swings it, the demonic energy in him spikes, indicating that's the source of his power," CJ explains. "You know how to do that stuff?" the Blue Ranger asked, shocked. "I can only do it for a short time, or else I could cause massive power surges and blackouts and stuff, but I can do it," CJ explained. "Huh, you rock, girl," the Blue Ranger told her. "I know," CJ blushed. The Blue Ranger and Yellow Ranger climbed to their feet. The Yellow Ranger jumped over the monster and rammed her two Batera grips into the shoulder blades, her blades getting caught between two massive slates of stone. The Yellow Ranger then pushed her feet against the monster's back, forcing the monster to arch backwards. The Blue Ranger then roundhouse kicked the monster. He then summoned his Chrono Sabers once more to disarm the monster's hammer to the ground. He then summoned his Vortex Blaster and put it to the hammer. He pulled the trigger and the hammer exploded into pieces. The monster started wiggling and squirming around as the rocks on his body started to crack and break and fall to the ground. The Yellow Ranger then slashed multiple times at the monster. She then kicked the monster into the tree trunk. Then the Blue Ranger pulled the trigger one more time as the bolt fired to hit from the Vortex Blaster. It hit the monster, which exploded, leaving scorch marks all up the tree trunk. Logan stood there, landing in the pile of foot soldiers, and started slashing them down. He then jumped up, kicked one. As he landed, the tip of his blade started glowing. "Crescent blade! Crescent wave!" Logan called out. He then swung his blade in circular motion, setting yellow energy waves at the foot soldiers. Then the foot soldiers all disappeared. The three Rangers grouped up with Logan. "Well, that was easy," the Blue Ranger said. "It was one of our finest moments," Yellow Ranger cheered. "Maybe a little too easy," the Black Ranger grunted. "Be on your guard," Logan grunted, holding his crescent blade. Suddenly, the figure blurred into the middle of the group. There stood Lucicon. The three Rangers and Logan swung for Lucicon, but Lucicon just swung in a circular motion, blocking all the attacks. He then grabbed the Blue Ranger and headbutted him, and pushed the Blue Ranger into the Yellow Ranger. He then blocked Logan's second attack and kicked him, knocking him off his feet. He then blocked the Black Ranger's attack, grabbing him by the shoulder and rapidly punching him in the chest. Energy shockwaves erupting off the Black Ranger's body as each attack made an impact. The Black Ranger tried his best to free himself from the demon's grip. Then Lucicon delivered the final blow, sending the Black Ranger flying across the field. As he hit the grass, the Ranger demorphed. The Blue Ranger summoned his Chrono Sabers and swung for Lucicon. He just grabbed both sabers by the blade and pulled the Blue Ranger closer and booted the Ranger in the chest. Then he grabbed the Blue Ranger by the throat and raised him in the air. He then slammed the Blue Ranger into the ground. He then growled and lightning erupted from his horns, which hit the Yellow Ranger. The Yellow Ranger screamed in pain as she dropped to the floor, and she also demorphed. The Lucicon grabbed the Blue Ranger by the wrist and spun him around in a circle, then let go, letting the momentum sending him flying across the field. The Blue Ranger bounced off the ground several times before he hit the floor and demorphed. "Hello, Logan," Lucicon growled. "Lucicon," Logan muttered. "Really? Helping the enemy?" Lucicon asked. "Really? Kicking the hell into a bunch of 18-year-olds? Logan snapped. "How long can you use that blade for before you have to stop, huh?" "Before the darkness takes over," Lucicon mocked. "You know nothing," Logan grunted. The three now demorphed Rangers grouped up and dropped to their fighting stances when suddenly pink rings came flying overhead, hitting Lucicon, exploding off of him. The demon just stood there, not fazed by the attack. The pink in-space Ranger landed between her team and the demon leader. "Amy, don't!" Dante called out, but the pink Ranger ignored Dante as she ran towards Lucicon. Lucicon held out his hand, and a small red and purple bolt of fire exploded from his palm and hit the pink Ranger straight on. The pink Ranger dropped to the floor Lucicorn grabbed the Pink Ranger and slammed her into a tree. She demorphed and started crying. "Please let me go! Please, please, please!" Amy screamed out in pain. Lucicorn stood there and laughed, holding the teen girl by her throat. Lucicorn stood there and grinned. "Scream!" he demanded. Dante and Luca started to run towards Lucicorn, but Service jumped in the way and swung his C-staff, slashing the ground. "I said scream," Lucicorn said. Then Amy screamed, high-pitched and loud. It echoed throughout the park. Lucicorn just stood there laughing as he dropped Amy. She landed on her knees, holding onto her throat. Her crying was broken up by gasping for air. Service walked up to Lucicorn and handed him the gorilla animal crystal. "Good boy," Lucicorn growled. "Give that back," Logan called out. "Sorry, Logan, my boy. Not today," Service grinned. Logan went to swing his blade, but his hand started shaking and he felt weak. "That's right. Put the blade down, boy." "No way you would be able to beat us both," Service grinned. He held out his cracked power coin. "You won't get a third time, Dante," Service grinned. "Hush, pet. We now must deal with the next part of our plan," Lucicorn told Service. Then the pair of them teleported away. The 4 Rangers grouped up with Logan. "I'm sorry, guys. I was helpless," Amy pleaded. "It's okay, he got us all," Chloe grunted. "Why did he take the animal crystal?" Luca questioned. They all turned to Logan. "He's been collecting our Power Ranger sources," Logan muttered. "Yeah, they stole my dad's dino gem," Chloe told them. We think that's why certain Power Rangers have gone missing, because they are locked to their powers, like the power coins or the Nexus Prism," Dante said. "That would make a lot of sense," Logan replied. "So now he's after the Wild Force powers?" Amy muttered. "No, not yet. The Gorilla Zord isn't the source of their morphing power. It's just an auxiliary Zord," Logan told them. "So why did they need an animal crystal?" Luke asked. "Its energy's a lot to the Zord," Logan explained. "Yeah, and all the Zords are on Animarium, which is in the sky somewhere," Chloe said. Then, one by one, each Ranger clicked on to what Chloe just said. "Wait, what?" Luke asked. "They find an Animarium, they find the source of the Wild Force Power Rangers," Amy snapped. "Oh, crap," Luke gasped. "Logan, just for once, drop the self-hatred act and work with us here," Dante grunted. "I was gonna say the same thing, actually," Logan said. "We have tried to find them, Lucicorn and Service, we mean, but we can't locate them at all," Chloe told him. "Well, we know their endgame, so why not beat them to it?" Logan said. "What? How are we going to get to Animarium?" Amy asked. Logan stayed silent and Dante took a deep breath. "You know how to get to the Animarium, don't you?" Dante asked. Logan nodded slowly. "You think you could put the location into our communicators?" Dante asked, showing Logan his watch. "Yes, but I can't do it now. I need to recharge," Logan replied. Dante looked at his group, which were all battered and bruised, and looked drained. "I think we all do," Dante said. "Meet us back here tomorrow, same time," Dante told Logan. Then Logan nodded in agreement and he walked away. "Are you okay heading home?" Luca asked Amy. "Yeah, I know all the shortcuts. Don't worry," Amy replied. She then said her goodbyes and headed home. The 3 Rangers teleported back to the dojo and got some sleep. In the land without time and space, William sat there holding the last black piece in his hand, and then he tossed it away, leaving 2 black pieces on the chessboard, one symbolising Lucicorn, the other one symbolising Shield Scyther. William placed another silver piece symbolising Service next to Logan's piece. He then pushed the black piece with the glowing red horns forward straight in front of the 3 white pieces. "Almost there," William grinned. The knight walked over to William and passed him a new chess piece. "Thank you," William muttered. He then placed the new white chess piece with the red base next to the white piece with the pink base. "The biggest fight of their lives so far is upon them," William grinned. And there we have it. Power Rangers Future Foundation Chapter 13. Assault on the Animarium Part 1. I hope you guys have enjoyed this chapter. I want to quickly use this time to shout out some of my supporters and friends. We have Zero to Hero podcast, with Billy and Jim, the Balkan Scholar podcasting, and if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't know certain other people, and their podcast is absolutely fantastic. Go check them out, they're very funny, and they recently were on another podcast talking about Super Samurai, and on their own podcast they do have some amazing Power Ranger fans. Then let's talk about Ben Baker with the Baker Rangers Movie Talks, which I've also been a guest on. He talks about all sorts of movies, old, new, all sorts of stuff. Then we have the Red Cornish Ranger with his Nursery Comics, which he does his own audio drama stuff, and I'm a voice actor for that too. Cosplay Dude 637 is another story drama and fan fiction writer. I also do voice acting for his fairy tale work, and he is doing his own parent stories. You might want to go check that out, because a certain character in this story, which usually comes at the end, has appeared in his Ultra Rangers. You might want to go check that out. Thank you guys for listening, and I shall see you guys very soon.